Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're watching this on Instagram, hello Instagram folks. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello YouTube folks. So this is the first of a series that I'm starting where I go over each of the major arcana cards. So for those who are unfamiliar with tarot, there is a major arcana set of cards and a minor arcana set of cards. And the major arcana consist of 22 cards, going from 0 to 22, and each card has a particular theme. So in tarot readings, when these major arcana cards pop up, think of these as kind of like really big billboards. They're kind of pointing to overreaching and overexpanding themes within the reading itself. And then the other cards, the minor arcana cards, will be the cards that kind of highlight and kind of go into detail within that overarching theme. A lot of us kind of look at the major arcana cards as having kind of like the hero's journey, starting with the first card that we're going to be showing and ending with the last one. So there's a lot of symbolism in these cards. There are so many different ways to kind of approach each of them and look at them. So again, this is kind of my take on each of the cards, hinting on the overall arching themes of them, but also, my own interpretation of how they've kind of popped up in my readings, both for myself and for other people. So using again the chibi tarot that I used before, because I just think they're so cute, and I think a lot of people like this type of deck because it's a lot. It has images that are a bit easier to digest than, say, the Rider-Waite, the main kind of tarot deck, because a lot of the images there tend to scare people. And so I think approaching and introducing it in this more cute kind of form will kind of take away some of the apprehension that's usually associated with some of these cards. This first one, though, is not really apprehensive in any way. So we start off with 0, which is the Fool. This is the first card in the entire traditional tarot deck. Every major traditional tarot deck is going to, of course, have these cards. They're just going to be probably designed or styled or themed different ways, depending on, the nature of the deck and who created it and who illustrated it. So the Fool in nearly all the decks, there's a lot of little common things. He usually looks pretty happy, very whimsical, kind of laissez-faire. He almost always has a dog with him, a faithful companion, and he's usually at the edge of a cliff. So a lot of people are like, well, why is he on the edge of the cliff? This represents the start of a great adventure. If you've ever watched, say, like The Hobbit or read The Hobbit, when Bilbo Baggins takes off, he's like, oh, I'm on a great adventure. That the Fool card is the epitome of that feeling and that experience where you are just taking off into the world. If you look at it from the life cycle viewpoint, this is like the beginning of life where you're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, hence our little friend here who is indeed bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, jumping out into the unknown for the first time. And this is what this card represents. It represents that exhilarating feeling that you have when you're taking off into the unknown. You're starting a new cycle, you're starting a new adventure, you're starting something new, or you're having a complete change of mindset and you're now taking off and seeing the world in a completely different light. Those are the positive aspects of the Fool. Now, if the card is reversed, I don't usually do like readings with reversed cards. That's just me personally. But if the card is reversed, it could be a caution to the person, like, hey, you're kind of just jumping into the unknown with no parachute and no plan, and that might not be such a good idea right now. So if you get the Fool in reverse, that might mean, hey, maybe don't go sailing forward as if nothing can happen to you and this is just one big silly adventure and everything's all hunky-dory, because you may miss something if you go jumping off that cliff and you don't have a parachute or anything prepared. It may not end well for you. But for the most part, the Fool has a pretty positive outlook. Of course, like any of the cards in the tarot, it's important to kind of look at what other cards pop up around it to give more clues as to what it could mean. But usually when the Fool card pops up, that means some grand new adventure is about to start, or some grand change of pace, some change in direction, and it's usually positive. Again, if it's reversed, it may be saying, hey, tread lightly or don't just go flying forward blindly. But this, at its extreme, does represent kind of going forward kind of blindly and just purely on faith. Like, you're just stepping out in faith. This is the step out in faith card, and feeling that, oh, I have the wind, wind beneath my sails and behind my sails, and I am ready to go, and I'm ready to take on the world, and let's do this, and let's go. So usually a pretty positive card to get, especially if you or the person you're reading for is looking for change and a fresh new start. This is a great card to pop up because that means, yep, that's exactly what's happening, and that's what you have to look forward to. So I like when this card pops up, especially in like New Year's readings or birthday readings, or after the person's gone through a really difficult time and they're ready to start over. This is a really nice card to have pop up in the deck. But again, like I kind of said before, make sure that you're, one, looking at the other cards around it to see if there's any additional details that can lend to this. And then two, be aware to not just go blindly leaping forward and end up putting yourself into trouble. Because again, this character is pretty bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and oftentimes very innocent about what awaits them in the world. And as we'll see as we go through the rest of the Major Arcana, you will see there is a lot awaiting this little guy out in the world, and not all of it is fluffy. So yeah, that's my summary on the Major Arcana card 0, which is the Fool. And I just noticed that he's kind of like drunk here because he's so yes, this is definitely kind of the blindly jumping forward on faith. Again, that's my little summary of the Fool card. It's always kind of fun to get this little guy in a reading. Usually if it's upright, it's usually heralding, again, a new start, a new opportunities, a new adventure. So look at it as such. It's usually a good thing. Yeah, that's about it for this one. Thank you so much for tuning in. And I will be back with it's the second card, but it's going to be card number 1. And I love the next card. I really do. I could go on and on about the next card, but I'm not gonna. But anyway, I leave you with the Fool, and you guys take care. Bye.